Is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible, Ashish.
Perfect. So what we are going to do first is we will today we'll create a project. Okay. We'll try to understand its mapping, and we'll try to do the deployment of that project from the local directory to AEM with the help of Maven. So before I go that way, I just want uh, to know that do you have Eclipse? Okay. So let Eclipse open, and also one piece of information. Uh, you will get your softwares today because I had applied it yesterday, and today I'll get the licenses. So today afternoon or by today evening, I'll be sharing the Ninja files with you along with the licenses. And moving towards let Eclipse start. Meanwhile, let's understand a little bit more about CRXD. So as we discussed yesterday, CRXD is the place where your development and everything would be done. All your CSS writing, all your JavaScript, all your component creation, all your page creation, everything will happen in CRXD. So for starters, we only want ourselves to be concerned with 3 folders. One is apps. Apps is the place where all my custom code would be present. So any project that we are going to create today, all the components, all the templates and client libraries, everything would be present over here in the apps folder. Any kind of assets related to that project which will create would be present over here inside this one. And any kind of page that we will create related to the project would be present at this level. It might have a hierarchy of its own, but it would be present inside content folder. Another folder that you should know about is libs. And as the name suggests, libs, library system or libraries. So what it means is you have entire set of all the OOTB classes, components, your scripts, functionalities, everything is present in libs folder. They're not, it does not go like whatever the proper working of AEM is, it's coming from the libs folder. We'll stick to these 4 folders for now. Apps, custom code, content. In content, anything related to pages would be stored. In DAM, anything related to assets would be stored. And libs is the place which contains all my out-of-the-box functionality code. Now, let's go to Eclipse. Okay, check. I'll show you which version I'm using. She's not responding. So this is the version that I'm using at this moment. Now, what we are going to do is first we'll install one plugin. So let's go to Marketplace. So once you have come over here, search for AEM. And you have to install this plugin, AEM Developer Tools for Eclipse. Right now it's showing installed. If it was not installed, you will have an install option over here. Click on install. And once it is installed, it will ask you to restart your AEM, which you have to do. And once you have restarted your AEM, you can create AEM based project. So click on new. So there was a prerequisite, which was to install the plugin. Once plugin is installed, we'll create a new project. So go to file, others, and over here, after the plugin is installed, you will see there is a new option which has been added, which is called as AEM Sample Multi-Module Project. Let's create this project. Go next. So in the next window, it's saying you to select the archetypes. What are these? So if you observe in the apps folder, right, there is a already sample folder or sample project which is given to us by Adobe, which is called as vDetail. So vDetail is an out-of-the-box project which is given to us by Adobe. Now, this vDetail project, if you see, it has a structure. It has a client labs folder. It has a components folder. It has a configuration. It has config public content. We'll talk about the importance of each folder eventually. It has I-18N, which talks about internationalization. It has install folder. Okay. So all these things which is present over here, this is one structure which you have. So this kind of structure is decided by archetype. Depending on the archetype you will select, the project structure that you have over here will vary. Not only over here in the local directory as well, whatever project that will be created will vary. Guys, any questions so far?
Hey Ashish, I have one question.
Yes.
Does the POM file have any kind of dependency on the archetype?
Can you please elaborate?
So we have the POM structure, right?
Yes.
POM file structure. So does it have any kind of dependency with the archetype? If I will select archetype 13 and if I will select archetype 21, so it will be any difference in the POM file, or it will only have difference in the structure here, the file structure?
It will have difference in the POM file as well.
Okay, yeah.
Any more questions? Okay. So there are no questions. Let's move forward. So before creating this project and before going further, let me explain why we are creating project from here. You do have this option where you can simply go to apps. You can click on right click and create folder. Let's say this is my test or training. This is my training project. Inside this one, I can create any kind of structure that I want. We'll call it content. We can call it one template folder. All this kind of structuring I can create. What happens is, if you try to compare it with VDTL, it has so much data which is given to us. Again, depending on the archetype, this data will also vary. So what essentially happens is you will have to recreate everything from scratch, and that too with all the manual efforts. Problem with manual effort is it is prone to errors. You might end up making some mistakes, which will take time to debug. And in projects where you would be working, time is always of essence. Rather than creating a project manually and typing each line one by one, we go with the automatic approach. So over here, you can select any archetype that you want. Let's go with 22 for now. Click on next. It will ask you to give the project. So what shall we call our project? Okay. I'll copy this name, paste it over here, paste it over here, and now it says package ID must be specified. Go to advanced. Where's package ID? It's talking about apps folder name. One second, what is this? This is apps folder name. Option dispatch. Oh yes, here we go. It has to be specified as well. So whatever name you will give over here, it would be automatically taken at these places as well. So now, once I have given everything properly, it will ask for okay. You can go ahead. Click on next. At this moment, do not click on anything. Simply click don't deploy and server. You do have the option. You can set up a new server. You can give it rename. Let's say or anything. It will basically create one local host server on your system. Which at this moment this is not needed. Simply say do not deploy. Click on finish. For you as well, this will go in not responding mode, which is expected. If you see this C drive, go to your workspace. So in my case, the workspace is in this place. This is still in not responding stage, but over here, we had called it training match, right? So I have a project which has been created training with a name training march. And now my Eclipse has become responsive. So training march is successfully completed and it is building the entire directory once again. Now we are going to go inside this training march. This is all the directories, all the files which were created by Eclipse when we had selected archetype 20. Similarly, if you see, there is one project inside this which is created with archetype 12. So you see the number of folders which are present over here. Similarly, there is one project which had a different one. Depending on the archetype that you'll select, things will vary. Okay. So let's say this dialog generator, for example. This is a different archetype project, and the number of folders which are present over here is different. So if I have to put it in simple words, archetype decides the structure of your project. Depending on the archetype that you'll select, the structure of your project will vary. Now, let's do a refresh and we'll talk about things. First thing is, inside this, if you see, you have so many folders, all code, dispatcher.ems, cloud, launcher, apps, blah, blah, blah. For starters, we'll only know about a couple of them, which is one is core. Core is the folder which will contain all your Java code. So if you go inside core, you have a SRC folder. Go inside SRC, main, Java, March project, code. All these are packages. Let me show you over here in Eclipse. Inside core, training march.core, I mean in the code part, expand this, and these are all the packages. You open any package, this is a Java file. This is all Java file. So core is the place which will contain only Java code for you. Okay, all these contains Java files, and once once you move out and once you go to the parent directory of core, you'll realize there is one more folder which is called as target. So the importance of target folder is, once you try to build your project, which is March project, once you try to build it, it will compile all the source, all the code, all the files that is present in source, and it will create the compiled code and place it inside target folder. We will see how the compilation and other things work in some time today. Once this happens, you have code which contains all your code related to Java. You have UI apps, and this corresponds to, let's go to SRC main. This corresponds to apps folder. So whatever is present over here in JCR root, what is this JCR root? This node, this /root node is called as JCR root. So the mapping will start from here. So immediately, if I have to add something in apps, after JCR root, the apps folder should be there. You have apps folder. Similarly, inside apps, if I want to add something, that should be present over here. Inside March project, what all things do I want to add? So all those things would be present. And in a similar fashion, you will have UI content, okay, which corresponds to your content. Any questions so far? So first thing that we are going to do, we will try to build this project. So open command prompt over here. And if Maven is properly installed, you need to confirm that as well. Is the version of Maven installed? If Maven is properly installed, once you type this command, you will see some version number popping up. This is the proof that Maven is installed. Now what we're going to do, we'll simply type mvn clean. This is the first command that we're going to run. So observe, there is a target folder in all the modules. Each folder is a module over here. Okay. If you go to launcher, you have a target folder. Let's see. Let's run Maven clean. Is scanning for projects, and it did something. And at the end, we got success. And if you try to compare, all of these are the modules which are in these folders. See this. Earlier we saw there was a target folder in core, which is gone. In UI apps, there was a target folder, which is gone. In general, the target folders would be gone. Everywhere, whatever the target folders were, after running this command, which is Maven clean, it would be gone. So the importance of this command is it lets you clean, or it lets you delete the compiled code. Okay, so compiled code as in initially I talked about this fact that what does target folder holds? Target folder holds the compiled code. So clean command will delete the entire target folder. Once you have deleted the old code, you can type mvn install. What this will do, this will compile the code. It will create one target folder. Inside that, it will simply compile and add the deployable jar or zip. So let's run Maven install command and let it do its work. And to give you a little bit more context, why are we building the project? So let's say this is my AEM. And this is my local directory. Yeah, so this is my local directory. Inside this directory, what do I have? I have my March project. Okay. And it has some files, some folders, some files are present. What happens is you cannot directly push all these things to AEM.
Sorry, Ashish. I can able to see command prompt only. Is my network issue or can anyone?
Okay. What about others? Do you see Paint?
Yes.
I
Okay.
think it's mine. Okay, fine.
Okay. What happens is if you try to push all these files directly into AEM, AEM will reject it. Why? Because AEM has its preset of configurations or preset of rules, which tells in what format, if you give it data, like it will accept the data and only in a specific format. So after running this Maven command, we do is we run Maven command. organization. So Maven will come into picture. Maven will take this file, okay. It will take this file, it will convert it into a format. Let's say this is the format which AEM understands. This is the format which AEM understands. It will convert it, and then we can push this format directly into our AEM. Maven will essentially build the project so that it can be deployed into AEM. And if we go to command prompt again, it is still building. Let it build. It will take a little bit longer than what the time it is taking in my system. When you will try to build, it will take at least 5 to 7 to 10 minutes because you are building the project for the first time. So it will download a lot of dependencies and other things. In my case, all these dependencies are already downloaded. So it is going to take a little bit less time as compared to what it will take for you.
See, I have one question here.
Mhm.
So it is downloading from the Adobe.
Yes, public repository.
Okay, Adobe. So in that case, what is the different if you give like the profile, or if you are running the Maven clean install, the normal command?
See,
so we have a profile command also, right? Like mvn clean install, we give a Adobe profile, right? So it does the same thing, or it has some different?
What happens is, let's say you're working on a project. Your has certain files which are only specific to your project or which is only private to your organization. Right? This is a public repo from where they are downloading the data. Anyone can download it, but there would be certain files, certain internal Adobe files, which are not accessible. You need certain set of profiles or certain set of credentials to access them. Right?
Yeah.
So what essentially happens is you can have n number of profiles in your settings.xml. And while building the project, you can tell AEM from which profile it has to download all the, or from basically profile contains the repository information. So from which profile it has to download all the jars and necessary dependencies.
Okay, so that means if I create two profile, it will get the same repo. All the same files will be there in that two profile, right?
No. Let's say this is your repo. Okay. You have profile number 1. Sorry, not this. This is your settings.xml. And you have two profiles in this. Profile 1, profile 2. Okay. Now, what happens is profile 1 will contain the access to one repo. Profile 2 will contain access to the another repo. This is profile 1's repo. This is profile 2's repo.
But it will connect to the same Adobe repo only, right?
Sorry?
But it will connect to the Adobe repo only, right?
Not
take all the files.
Not necessary. Not necessary. Okay. That completely depends how you have configured it. Once you run your Maven command now, if you run your Maven command with the profile, you decide which profile has to be chosen. So if you select, let's say, profile, let's call it profile number 1, profile number 2. So if you select 2 in the profile command, so this all the data while building your project would be taken from this repository, all the jar and everything. And
Okay.
if you do not define the profile, AEM will search, okay, wherever it finds it, it will try to download. It will first search in number 1, then it will search in number 2. If it tries to find, if it finds the dependency in either of them, it will download it and share, keep it in an empty repository.
Okay. Okay. So that is why we different project defines the different
Because
profiles.
yeah, because what happens is, this is, let's say, 1 is your Adobe one, and this is your something your private repository, which is not accessible to everyone. So private repository contains private code, private dependent, private private jar files.
Yeah, project specific jar file, project specific. Yeah. Okay.
So you have to have this profile, and you want your building to happen only with this profile. You do not want to borrow anything from public.
Okay, yeah. So we can have the profile also all together with the normal navigation command. So that in the project we can have the different profiles also to download the repo from different reports. Okay. Yeah.
Forward. Once this command is ready, if you go and see, let's talk about core. There's a target folder created. Inside target folder, you have all this compiled data. Similarly, in UI apps, you have a target folder, and this contains the compiled data. UI content has the target folder and it contains the compiled data. Now, all this project has been compiled and it is stored still on my local system, or local file system. It has not been pushed to AEM. So how do you push the project? Push the data directly to AEM. So you have 2 ways for that. One is you can simply go to package manager, click on upload package. Copy this path. Select target, click on this and open it up. It contains some dependencies and all. Due to this, this project will not get installed, but any zip file can be uploaded over here. Once you upload the package, simply click on install and you would be done with it. This is the manual. And another thing that has to be kept in mind is, if you observe in UI apps, there's a target folder, you have a zip file. Okay. And if you go to the code, in target folder, you have a jar file. So understand one thing, the jar file will always get deployed in your system console bundles. This is the place where your jar file would be deployed. And how do you deploy a jar file manually? Click on install and update. Select these 2 checkboxes. Merge project, target, select this, click on open, install or update. So as you can see, March project has come over. This is the manual way of uploading the project. But what happens is, problem with the manual way is, you have too many things to upload. You have, so first of all, you have this all You have code, dispatcher AMS, tests, content, structure, front end, and all these things has to be manually uploaded. Imagine the time it is going to take every time even you are doing small change, you have to build your project, and then after building, you have to deploy. It's a tedious task. What we do, we have something called as B auto install package. Once you give this flag to Maven, Maven will automatically push the project from a local directory. It will build, compile, and it will automatically push the project from local directory to your AEM. And also one more thing, earlier we ran clean and install individually. Clean and install can run together. First cleaning will happen, then installation or basically compilation will start. And once the things have been compiled, they would be pushed to AEM. See this. As you can see, there's nothing, no data present related to March project. And this is also empty at the moment. So now this has been built successfully. See, I reload. On the top, you have March project being installed at 747. You have content, all apps and everything related to March project has been installed. You see the zip and jar files. The March project has been installed. And if you do a reload over here, you will see March project specific, all the data templates, audio components, your client libraries, everything has been created. And so is the case with content. In content, you have a March project. You have a DAM, which will have a March project. Hopefully, yes, it has a March project. And this is how you build a project and you deploy it in a year. Any questions in that? Guys, any questions?
No.
Okay. So I'll take a stop here so that everyone gets time. Today I'll share the software and try to have things ready. And once you are able to deploy automatically from local directory to AEM, that will confirm that your setup and everything is ready for further use. Okay, so today I'll be sharing the softwares with everyone, and you'll get some time to figure this out. Okay, and if there are any issues, we'll sit tomorrow and resolve.
One question: we will be creating a runtime project.
Sorry, come again.
We will be creating a runtime project kind of thing. I mean, a website kind of thing.
Yes.
What all the things you will cover there, like components from the core components and from there, right? I mean, like hero component and navigation and these things, right?
Core components, custom components. Basically, I would be explaining every intricacies that is there to know about components, how the values are stored, how do you read it via Sling models, and how multi-fields and everything would be created and so on.
Okay, I mean, based on a website, whatever we will create, right? In that way.
Not all the components, because if I start creating all the components, then it's a never ending.
No, I mean the specific, the important. I mean, where like like text component, hero component, navigation component, grid component.
We are not going to create navigation. As in, we will create components, but again, it won't be specific to navigation, carousel, and those kind of things.
Okay.
I'll explain you how a component can be created. Those are, then it's up to you how you create it. I'll tell you how multi-field would be created, how rich text would be created, how any other custom component with different fields would be created over here.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, not from my side.
Okay. Then thanks everyone for joining. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.